Hello, Voiders. You just caught me at the Hollywood night market. Tonight, we are going to go see Brightburn. I'm a little torn with my expectations for this movie. Because on one hand, I really like dark horror movies with scary children. Like, I really enjoyed, for example, The Omen in the 80s and that movie in the 90s. Few people know about called Mikey. Very cool movies with like evil children in them. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'd like to see one of those. On the other hand, this is somewhat of a superhero movie, and as many of you people who watch this channel on a regular basis know that superheroes are just not my thing. Like, last time I was really into a superhero movie was the Dark Knight trilogy, and when the whole entire the whole entire MCU thing started, I sort of lost interest. It was kind of too overblown for me, too much CGI. Not really that I hate it, it just wasn't really my jam. So I'm hoping that this is more of a horror movie and less of a superhero movie, but who knows what's coming for us. And that this will be a lot of fun. So stick around, we're gonna go see Brightburn tonight. And if you wait till the end of this video, I'll tell you a little secret. I'll tell you about the time Jeff Goldblum made fun of my sex life. Oh my god, guys, look! It's the classical Cinerama building, and Godzilla is spitting lights out of it since the movie's coming on the 31st. We're at the ArcLight. My favorite theater in LA, I have to say. Best sound and best picture. The Ghostbusters are behind me. Watch. Look. There they are. Anyway, we're going to see Brightburn now. I'm expecting this evil take on Superman. And if they use just the right amount of horror elements, I'm going to be a happy camper. Let's do this. Hellbrand. So, I just saw Brightburn, and that was fucking badass. This went over all expectations I could imagine for this movie. Like, it was seriously like one of my favorite movies of the year. That is my first initial reaction, and this is something unique. This is something that has not been done before, and I'm really glad that in today's days of the superhero craziness, somebody chose to make a dark little superhero story that actually works on every level, especially for horror fans. You really gotta hand it to Mark Gunn and Brian Gunn for coming up with a crazy script like that. But you gotta admit, they did have a bit of like inspiration from their older cousin James Gunn. This movie was in a way, very old school James Gunn, I gotta say. Like, it really reminded me a bit of like the times James Gunn was still doing shit like Super, like the before Guardians of the Galaxy era James Gunn, and that was like my favorite version of him. You know, I'm a sucker for old school shit, like, you know. Okay, let's get to this movie. So the thing is, what makes Brightburn work so fucking well is that they actually like use those old school horror tropes, as I mentioned before, from movies like Mikey or movies like The Omen, like that. There's something wrong with this kid horror tropes, you know, where they slowly show you that this kid's fucked up. He does some fucked up shit to his other students and so on and so on. But what makes this different than those typical weird kid movies is the fact that you start feeling for him, which you don't in those other movies. You at the beginning of it think, oh my god, this kid's fucking evil. But no, here you really feel for this poor little Brandon dude, because he gets bullied. His parents sometimes think he's like treat him like this monster because, you know,
which he is.
the person I was with didn't like Brandon as much as I did, but you feel for him. He goes through puberty, and you notice that like he becomes this outcast in his world. They say, with great power comes great responsibility.
With great power comes great responsibility.
But come on, you can't really judge anybody who uses his great power when they hit puberty to defend themselves from people who are fucking his lives up. And so you're pretty much feeling for him, but at the same time, you're also feeling for the people he is hurting. And this is what makes this movie so special. Because you as an audience member, you're constantly torn about who you should be rooting for. Are you supposed to be rooting for this kid? Or are you supposed to be rooting for the people he is hurting? What really surprised me was that the gore in this movie is really not subtle. And that is something that is really missing in these big blockbusters these days. This movie really decided to go all out on fucking shit up. Like making you really get squeamish when the gore kicks in. And I gotta hand it to Elizabeth Banks, who plays Tori Byer, the mother of Brandon Byer, and Jackson A. Dunn for a child actor. That was a fucking amazing performance. You go, bro. That was like goddamn good job. Like that performance was amazing. And this is one of those big high budget movies. You can't really like talk about cinematography properly because in these movies it's like fucking Game of Thrones, you know. Everything is perfect. It all looks beautiful. The editing choices, I gotta like point that out, were at points really, really, really brilliant. Just think of me when the scene comes when they cut to the porridge. You'll know what I mean when you watch the movie. It's fucking insane. I really wish that this is a movie that they will, in future, make an actual entire franchise of. Because there is so much you can do with this character. It is a beautiful, fun movie. Definitely not for the squeamish. And it actually, like, opened up my heart a little bit for the superhero genre. Like, I understand it a bit better now. But with this, the effects here are so wonderfully done. If you gotta, like, when you're watching this, pay attention to the stuff that happens in the background, because there's so much detail here. There also, like, is generally, like, a lot of love put into this character and a lot of, like, passion put into this. This is definitely a movie that was thought out and not just a quick cash grab. I think, like, this is going to have this gigantic cult following at some point. This was one of the best movies I've seen of this year, next to Detective Pikachu. Our character is something like something that will polarize and divide audiences in many ways, because I know a lot of people will be thinking, oh my god, this kid is just pure evil and he's just out to get anybody who comes out in his way, and some other people will be like, I'm thinking, this kid's being treated like an outcast. He's just a kid defending himself. When it comes to the killer kid trope, is as dynamic and powerful as this little movie. It's fucking badass. What I really liked is that in most of these movies, like, you usually see your main character have to choose between good and evil. And this is not really what our kid here does at all. He is simply put in a position, he's a child in puberty, and he has to, like, deal with stuff and deal with his problem. It's not really a question of good and evil, it's just a kid trying to defend himself. So in my closing words, as much you may be confused about the character of Brandon Byer and what his motives are, and if the way he is acting is okay or just narcissistic lunacy, there's one thing we can really all agree upon. This is a badass movie you don't want to miss out on. Hey guys, as you fucking see here in the background, we are recording the new full episode of The Movie Void. It's gonna be a huge trash fest, bigger than, I think, the biggest trash fest since the Dirty Dancing remake. You can really fucking look forward to that one. Here's a hint what movie we're going to be doing. Oh, I promised you one thing if you'd stick around till the end of the video, and thanks for sticking around at the end of the video. You know, I really need some more exposure and I really need some more attention. I'm trying to get 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible because I was thinking of opening a talk show that goes as a live stream called The Late Night Void with interviews from people in the movies and some musical acts and, you know, a classic talk show, but with me and the weirdness. Look, it's all my hats. Yeah, I want to tell you one thing. The story of how Jeff Goldblum laughed about my sex life. So I was chilling at the Chateau Marmont with this dude. I was just like talking to him about like basic stuff. And we were talking about women. And I was like, you know, there's guys who like blonde girls. There's guys who like tall girls. There's guys who like shy girls. I like crazy bitches. I need them insane. That is my fucking problem. And at that moment, Jeff Goldblum walked by me, looked me dead in the eye, and laughed right into my face. And that is how Jeff Goldblum laughed about my sex life. It's an amusing story, guys. Okay. I don't know what's coming first, the next Movie Void episode or the next Sunday's episode. So we'll see. Whatever it is, you'll probably get both around Tuesday. Maybe Monday. The new episode if I get editing on it quick enough. Good night, everyone.